Hi,
Silvia.
Nisa. Hello, how are you?
I'm very good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing very well.
Lovely to talk to you today. I'd
Thank you for
like to
having me.
start with just describe very quickly who you are, what you do.
Sure. So, I work as a growth coach and business advisor. I'm based here in New York City, and I work with entrepreneurs and CEOs to create a life and a business that they like. And I focus on growth and scalable solutions.
That's fantastic. And I'm so excited to have you join Festival of Doers in January. Silvia will be running one of the workshops after lunch. And yeah, we are very much looking forward to that. But what I wanted to capture today was a couple of things about success, turning points, and maybe some tips at the end. So let's start with your definition of success. I believe women describe success differently, and I'm always super interested when I meet new people. What is their definition?
Yeah, I think for me, success is something where I feel that I'm completely aligned with my values and that the lifestyle that I have as a result of my choices and the opportunities that I pursue are in proportion to the time, money, and energy that I spend on it, right? So I need to feel that I'm fulfilled, that I have the time to do the things that I love, and that I make the money that sustain my living so that I can do the things that I really enjoy.
Oh, I love that. That is super realistic. And I think very often we go on a tandem to, define success in ways that it's always kind of out there. And we need to keep kind of reaching out rather than, of course, nothing stops you from expanding what you just said, but it's always based on reality.
Yeah, I think it's really important that all opportunities, all activities that I invite into my life, and that could be business activities, that could be a relationship, that could be a hobby, that could be a trip, that could be anything. I want to make sure that I evaluate it according to those principles, where I really make sure that the time, the money, the energy I spend on it actually gets me what I want out of life, is in line with my values and the potential ROI that I'm looking for if it's a business endeavor, right? So if it's not in proportion, it's just not something I want to pursue, or it's not something I want to add to my calendar. And that includes social obligations or things that I do with my family.
And can you share a little bit this seems very balanced and something I'm sure a lot of
Yeah.
women would love to have.
Right.
But I'm sure you were, like most of us, we weren't born like that. So
No.
can you share maybe some struggle or some backstory of, what took you to this place? Was there a turning point perhaps?
Well, I'm gonna go a little bit back in my life story, which I think is very important. I grew up being an outsider, and I never really fit in. So we traveled a lot, and kids are kind of cruel, and I wasn't really part of any groups. And so what that did, aside from the alienation, it really taught me how to listen to my voice within, right? I stopped looking for outside validation and spent more time looking at, well, what is it that's going to make me happy? Because there wasn't any validation coming in. I wasn't cool. I wasn't fitting in. I wasn't accepted. I was always on the outside. I was weird. I had different ideas. And that was really helpful for me as an adult, even though it was painful as a child and a teenager, to hone into these principles, to always sit back and determine whether or not this was something that was going to make me happy or lead to me being the person I want to be, that is inspiring to others, maybe not acceptable, but inspiring, or maybe setting a different example, but bringing in an attitude and a lifestyle or choices that might be different, but have a very positive effect. So now, was that always smooth? No, not at all. I mean, there's like several different turning points where I either tried to fit in, or I pursued, this life of illusion and stability, and did what I thought I should do, and, follow the career path that looked great on the outside and felt empty on the inside and just wasn't really fulfilling, where I ended up in a construct of existential dread, right? Every day I'd come home and yeah, sure, my career looked great on the outside, but I would sit there every night watching the ceiling fan go round and round in circles, wondering, wow, is there all that is? You know, I mean, I have the money, I have the outside, you know, I have the boyfriend, everything looks pretty and perfect. And, you know, it wasn't a life that I wanted. It didn't feel right. So, you know, I really had to go inwards and go back to, well, what is it that would actually make me happy? And how much money do I need to sustain that kind of lifestyle? And what are the qualities of life? And what is the qualities of love and relationships that I want to have in my life that make me feel fulfilled?
And what would you share? That's a lovely story, by the way. I really, really think that a lot of us, and including myself, we struggle with that. So there's always first the story of trying to fulfill other people's expectations and what we think success means to us, and then slowly through some painful choices and discoveries, we start figuring out actually who we are and what we want to do and how we want to belong to the world. And to finish off, I'd like to hear maybe your top tip for women who are maybe on the cusp, sort of coming to the realization, yeah, this looks great on the outside, but I'm not quite fulfilled. How do I go after my own dreams? Because it feels really scary. How to get them started? What's your top tip?
I would say create a framework of habits that allow you to create change. And for me, that I would suggest to create a habit of introspection combined with habits of action around accountability, because that combination is always going to allow you to listen to the voice within to determine whether or not you're going to the right direction, and then implement things one step at a time in a construct, whether that's a mentor or a social group or an organization or an accountability partner that's going to get you there. So you always have the mixture of introspecting to see where am I going, what's a dead end road, you know, what moves me forward, what do I no longer need, what's not in line with where I want to go, combined with actionable steps to move towards that. So it's
you are speaking my language.
Yeah, it's the combination of introspection and action that will get you there.
Exactly. That's exactly what we do at DrivenWoman. By the way, this was not a paid AdWord.
No.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And you can all meet Silvia at Festival of Doers in January in London, 26th of January. And yeah, get onto the link below and get your tickets because they are selling fast. Thank you very much for your time and see you in January.
Thank you so much for having me.